Welcome everyone to this week's Nym community call. We broke the streak. So unfortunately last week Hux was sick, so we ended up having to cancel the community call. So we broke a streak of I think 15 consecutive community calls. But now we're back at it with double vengeance. So it's nice to have all of you with us. Today we're gonna of course talk a little bit about to give you a sneak peek into some upcoming product designs and also basically the mind behind them. Who is someone you already know. So let me introduce Hux, our dear friend. How is it going, Hux?
Hello, Sudo. Hey, everyone. Going super nice. Enjoying the spring here. Happy to be here with you. Sorry about last week. It was absolutely my fault because I took holidays, and on the first day of my holidays, I just felt super sick. As you know, I think many of you maybe noticed this when you can you feel like you can relax and like your body just gives up. So I'm sorry about breaking the streak, but I hope that I brought today something for everyone that's going to be interesting and exciting. It's more about sharing where we are to get your direct feedback and insights. We're building this, for you with you. So really hoping that I brought some Fig Jam boards for those who want to join, jamming together and leaving comments and thumbs ups on the designs, etc. So it's really like an interactive session that we prepared for you today. So looking forward, excited.
Yeah, no hard feelings on on last week, and Sal can attest to the fact that every single time I go on holiday, the first thing I do is get sick. So I will be the last one to complain about that. So I definitely know what that's like. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, we're gonna be picking up your questions at the end, or if they are relevant, we're gonna pick them right up. So make sure to leave them in chat if you have any, or you can also leave them on the Nym Matrix server to not compromise your privacy by having to log in with your YouTube account. So with all of that said, I guess before we jump into the sneak peek, sort of like the into the was it design kitchen that you said, Hux? I really like that.
Open
There's a
kitchen, open design
the
kitchen.
open kitchen, sorry, open design kitchen. Yes. Before we jump in there and take a look at some of the thought processes and designs that are currently at play, I wanted to just pay homage to your history here at Nym. So maybe let's start with that. For those who may not know it, actually, Hux is a former Nym community member who I myself indoctrinated, which I'm very proud of, back many years ago. Then he was the founder, or one of the founders, of the first ever Nym Community Squad, which actually then ended up bringing the name Squad League to the Nym Squad League, because we sort of imagined this Nym community program as like a collaboration of different squads, and that all started with the Pineapple Proxy, which Hux was one of the co-founders of, and now recently you became a head of product. So let's talk about this a little bit.
Cheers for the homage. And yes, it's true that you indoctrinated me fully. That's still true. I'm super happy with the past 4 years I've spent with Nym. I think it's probably the most time I've ever spent working on the same project or product with this amount of focus. And I think in this case, my focus just even sharpened. And even though I'm still here for the very same reason, to put actual privacy into the hands of actual people, where I kind of joined with like I think one of my first questions to you, Sudo, on this ominous 4-hour call on a Monday was like, okay, how can I use it? And like, well, yeah, you can run a node, and 4 years ago. So it was really different. And then I think from the very point of first the community, so proto community squad, the Pineapple Proxy, we also our first things that we did was community guides, right? Like we did how-to guides, we did Nym Connect testers, we did user testing on Nym Connect. I think my very first actual contractual work for Nym was to create Nym Connect onboarding, like to interview people, do user research on how people use Nym Connect, and also how people set up nodes, right? So what is the node runner experience? So I actually met. I'm not sure if Lem is on the call but
He's
there
here. I
was.
saw him in chat.
Yeah. So shout out to Lem because we met back then. He was one of the node runners back then who I interviewed, and we also had these super long calls after those. So actually, that was the first proper UX injection to the organization of looking at talking to users, hearing them out, listening to what features you want, what's making it hard for you to run a node, and since then we come a very, very long way because right now we have you, Serenko, myself, and Casey making our daily best to serve our user needs, right? Like you on the community and CX front, Casey on the communication front, Serinko on the network front, and right now I'm doing the same kind of sort of focus with the app front. And I do believe that this is, this shows, and I think that sort of all my journey, I was then from the user research part, I went on to mostly working on the website and then the other website, and then I built the first Explorer with new APIs and sort of like better features. And then since this year, I'm as head of product, I'm also the designer of the UIs and UX. So it's kind of single-handed thing that you're gonna see here today. But I have a fantastic dev team and execution sort of coordination team, the Scrum team with me who helps me every day. But I think that what we're building now and what we're gonna show now is really an actual next phase in how anyone can interact with the network and how, most importantly, since this is actual privacy and since this is the most real way to take care of your own digital privacy, I think our whole goal is here to create an educational tool, a privacy companion, which not only allows you to connect to nodes and use a VPN, quote unquote, but also learn about what it means when you do that, when you connect to a separate server or when you use an algorithm to connect to a server, what does it all mean?
All right, my friend. Let's. I don't know where you want to take this. Actually, I'll leave it open to you. But maybe it's worth taking a look at what NymVPN looks like today, and starting from there. Because I guess some of maybe the constraints or the sort of like the current shortcomings or areas of improvement could be then explored if we showed the app currently. Do you wanna show
Yeah.
us?
Yeah, should I screen share and look at the app? I'm on the app actually right now, so I can show like we're live connecting. All right, let me just move to a separate screen so there's no clutter here. Yeah, maybe like this. Oof, no. Yeah, this looks good. Okay, sharing my screen. So in terms of NymVPN got launched a year ago. It more than a year before that went into planning, designing, a decentralized VPN that runs on chain, where the core premise is privacy, where by using the VPN you don't let anyone know, not even us, who your account and usage, we cannot really link them. So it's really unlinkability and actual privacy that's been cooking under the hood. And I think the past year was mostly well focused on developing. My screen should be shared. Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, nice one. So let me just hide my start bar. So in in this last year, the entire core dev team and the Apple and the front end dev team, the client dev team, put insane amount of work into making this bit happen. On the UI, it's not super fancy, right? Like the ad blocker, the IPv6, the LAN bypass, the post-quantum gateways, post-quantum key gateways, the split tunneling, the wallet proxy, the DNS customization, anti-censorship features. So these are all the hardcore features which many top-notch engineers have been working endlessly and tirelessly on the last year to create these so any of our users actually can leverage the network at its best through this VPN interface, right? So the idea here was that basically we achieve feature parity and with other VPNs, and all these features, when these were designed and prioritized and sort of built, where if you remember, if many of, I don't know, older community members here, you can remember that we run many questionnaires, we had many rounds of interviews. At one point, there was multiple user researchers doing multiple rounds of interviews to ask, anyone and everyone, like, what kind of feature you want. Does kill switch import?
Hux, what?
Yeah,
Wait, Hux.
yeah,
Hux, can I stop you for a sec? Because it
yes.
looks like some people are watching us in portrait mode, and currently they are seeing a tree in the middle as you're
Ah,
explaining
now?
as you're explaining these features. Yeah,
Whoops.
I think now it should probably be
Now?
in the middle. Wait, let me check.
Yeah, sorry about my tree, guys.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay, okay. So I was explaining here all the advanced features that went into the app during the past year, basically. These are, like, some of these are are in itself engineering marvels. Like getting split tunneling close to right and sort of having the most advanced and most usable split tunneling algorithm in the decentralized VPN space is in itself a massive feature. Having the post-quantum key cryptography implemented in our gateways, that's also in itself like an insane technical feature. So and this was kind of last year's summary TLDR for those who didn't know what Nym and the NymVPN engineering team has been up to. So we've been polishing all this so all of our users can benefit from this. Now, if you NymVPN user already, you know that this is our home screen since ages, which actually looks like there's not many things that you can do, but in actuality, there's the mode selector. You can choose the fast or anonymous mode, and you can also choose entry and exit gateways. And for many people who are newcomers, who understand the importance of privacy, but newcomers to advanced privacy tech, or don't have that much time, or maybe not in a situation socially where you can, spend hours and hours reading a white paper, maybe, or reading the blog articles. This is just too many different settings. If you combine this sort of already two modes, two nodes, many advanced features, then it's just maybe a bit overwhelming for those people who actually, running away from direct surveillance or who are in a much different situation than, we are in, Western Central Europe, where currently there's pretty peaceful, not, so all I'm saying is that this is great for the users who we already have, and it's great for people who have time to figure out, where to click and how they want to set up the VPN. But the app is not doing its best, I think, in a way to educate about the features or to guide newcomers as like privacy companion on how to what you actually need to be private. Like, do you actually need to use anonymous mode, or is fast mode good for you? So there's many of these sort of UX related features which we just didn't have really time to think about before when building the actual features of the VPN. And now, with this iteration, what we're gonna show today, the demo of, I hope that we're taking a step toward actually looking like the next generation of privacy, meaning having a much more leaner, cleaner interface, and also in a way enabling people to educate themselves on privacy with us, and also giving sort of features to less advanced users. And the other
Yeah,
most
exactly.
important, yeah, yeah,
Sorry, just a quick interjection
yes,
here. The other way I could summarize what you just said is that this interface that we currently have in NVPN, um, it, it doesn't really serve the majority of users in the best possible way. And the majority of users, they just want to press one button and
exactly.
watch Netflix from a different country or whatever it may be. It's all great stuff, and it's obviously like key concepts and features within NymVPN and also within network, which make this app what it is and make it stand out. But maybe just facing a brand new user who just first downloaded a VPN, they think it's a VPN, but then they see entry and exit. Like, what the hell does that mean? How do I set this up? This is just too much complexity, like out the gate.
Yeah,
Sorry
and
for the interjection. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no, great. Please do interject because I can go on for hours on this. So just stop me and ask me, or if there's a question in the channel, just read it out. So, but exactly that. So and most of our, like, if you're an advanced user already and you know how to use these features and you have your favorite gateway setup, etc., then you also know that you can interact with the mixnet via the maybe the command line interface. Maybe you're developing an app for the mixnet, right? There's so many of these that we see these days. The whole ecosystem is sort of, I really like the new apps that use SOX5 connection to the mixnet and sort of make use of the infrastructure, not through the VPN, but through the, actually reaching the infra. And, if I'm not sure if the community have seen the news yet, but last week we announced that the bring your own NIM, that basically a permissionless credential issuance is available on chain. And this week, I think already a blog post went out about that autonomous agents can also purchase NymVPN. If they have a Cosmos wallet and enough funds in a Cosmos wallet, they basically can just purchase NymVPN credentials without any user interface, just with lines of code. So all this to say that we need to think about the VPN here that we see as a even user-friendlier app, and something that you dare to click around, that you not afraid of, that you click in the wrong spot, that something bad's gonna happen. So it's like we're gonna make sure that you feel like it's a bit more interactive and sort of natural feeling in a way, not as like high-end conceptual in its layout and design. All right, I think that was good. No, should we?
Yep.
Should we move on to the vision, or is there maybe any questions or no questions?
Well, there are a bunch of community questions,
Oh yeah,
but
okay.
I think we can just move on with this presentation. Ooh, for those who are watching in a portrait mode, this is not great, but it is what it is.
I try my best. Yeah.
You can find the same. Yeah, you can find the same live stream in not portrait mode, in landscape mode on our YouTube channel. So it's
We can.
youtube.com/NymTech
Yeah,
if you're
actually,
interested.
we can ditch this because we're gonna work with this actually on the community workshop part. So for those who I mean, maybe on mobile you can also do Figma. So let's just maybe keep it. Let me just show
Yeah.
some ideas of where we started and like what was the idea and what's the end state. And what we're gonna see now is of course not the end state, because we want to make sure we do everything iterative. We want to make sure that we don't compromise the actual features. Meantime, while the UI development is happening, there's also a lot of engineering effort going into fixing current known bugs and also tying up, loose ends on certain platforms with certain features. So this here is the vision. The vision is a much more linear interface, home screen, let's say. And the idea is that we're sort of going to port all important basic features to the home page. So this means that there's basically the connection controller, like what nodes you connect to, what the capabilities of those nodes are, and what the app mode is. And the other important part is it's a placeholder with this nice globe now, but is actually none other than the sort of user requested and also very, very useful map. So whenever you choose a connection or a location, this should also auto-rotate, zoom in on this Earth and auto-rotate to where it's connecting. Now, this is the idea, and this is just coming probably in the next release after the first one, which is the basics of this interaction. But what I'm going to show the demo of is the version before the vision with the map. And I'm going to explain why the sort of this new button structure works and what we expect from it, and going to ask our audience's impression on it and your feedback on it a bit later. How does that sound?
Sounds great. And also just a quick note to our audience, the first NymVPN free pass is going to be dropped in chat very soon. So get your thumbs or fingers ready to click as fast as possible. First come, first serve. Is that the expression I'm looking for?
Yeah, exactly. Early bird catches the worm. I think that's the expression that you was looking
Yes, that's another one. Another great one. Very good.
Okay.
All right, Hux,
Okay.
with that ABM, we can now
Amazing.
move
Okay,
on.
amazing. So, ladies and gents, this is again, this is just a very quick HTML demo of some Figma frames I dumbed down to work as a demo for us. This is right now in development, and I think the next sort of feedback round will be when this is out in the next big release of ours. We just changed sort of release schedules, so this is not going to be a 2-week cycle, but a longer cycle. But you're going to have your hands very quickly on this version that I have the draft of here. So what has changed? Sort of, we changed a little bit. We go back to our original colors and make it look a little bit cleaner and nicer. This is the dark skin, and settings stay the same place, and we're gonna have a very nice light skin for those who don't like the dark skin, because for some it's too cypherpunky or black hooded character metaphors, but then we're gonna have like a very nice matching light skin with the same elegance. But basically already, I'm not sure who's listening to this, but if you've been using NymVPN for a while now, you must have noticed how many iterations the sort of login went through. So we made a lot of simplifications and fixes in order to ensure a much smoother login within the app. We're also doing a bunch of fixes on the purchase flow and the account page side, but already in the app, it's going to be like a much easier to follow, much more coherent login. Let's say you log in with your mnemonics. successfully, and much nicer models, kind of. And here, this is, I think, probably the most important bit to look at together, because here we see a lot less features than on the actual current application we just saw, together that's running. So what happened here is that we decided that the connection manager, or the tap to connect button, basically gonna be a folding button. Why? Because most people already use the VPN on your phones. I mean, I hope that if you're watching this stream that you're seeing the screen right now proper, because this is like a phone screen. So basically we figured that since most of our users are already using it on the phone, and most of our users, some of our users feel overwhelmed with the too many options in the beginning, we do the, as you said, for that need, the one-click algorithm. So basically, there's a quick connect algorithm which is gonna choose, nearby, closest but different country next IP to your location based on a blanket connection template, like logic. Which means that if for those who doesn't know which, maybe some people were having troubles because they were using for fun an Australian node from, South Portugal. Maybe that's not the best because it does actually travel a lot longer than if you use like a more nearby node. So basically this whole best server for your location is the quick connect algorithm we implemented in the next release. This is for those, again, who don't want to think about what's the best for them. It's just going to probably give them the quickest, most secure connection next to their location, which they can, just click, literally just do one click, right? Have a nice sort of connection animation in this version running before the map is implemented here. But basically just clicking one click on your NymVPN, if you have an account, you're already safe, because we sort of offered the best node for you. And I think that this is great. We also, in this sort of reduced feature mode, or less advanced mode, we're also gonna show the IP address of the connected node, because so far we've only been showing the node names, which is great for node operators, and OG users, right? Because we already been used to the node operator names, and it's nice. But for those people who are maybe newcomers to the app, or maybe haven't spent that much time in the community, an IP address is actually a lot more useful, because they can easily check if they're protected or not, right? They see the IP they expose to the world. And the other important thing that we're going to show here in this very assisted mode, again, is that the gateway has post-quantum keys. So it has the Lewis protocol. And then we're also going to show the actual probe scores, meaning that we actually want to connect to the fastest available node, right? Which is the most secure for you. So this is I don't know, any questions, comments, Sudo, from you? How do you like it? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I actually have. But my question from the community's perspective, where is the map and the globe, Hux? Where did you put the map and the globe?
So guys, there has been a map demo version built for this release, but since there's really a lot of changes going in, a lot of care, we thought it's best to wait with the map for one more release, so we have enough time to release something that's exceeding all your expectations. I think generally it's better to groom something and cook something until it's really, really good one by one, rather than releasing a buggy map that always shows the same location. Maybe, I'm not saying that we would have done that. It's just, I think that's the approach that we're taking now. That we want to make sure that you have the best possible experience. And for that reason, we're going to separate these features, because these are separable. But I think I still want to show something else here, because there's more of the magic here. Yeah.
Let me
So
bring on your screen again. Wait just 1 second.
Am I sharing still?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, you're sharing. Yeah, we can see the
demo.
The app demo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So from the beginner state, like when the button is really small, but with a use of a thumb or a click on this arrow, you actually, not this, but you kind of get to the mode where you can select the fast anonymous mode toggle, right? Because the next feature that's actually our VPS differentiator is the toggle between the 2-hop mode and the 5-hop mode. And again, most who use mixnet and anonymous mode already know which gateways they select, and kind of what their connection preference is and when they choose this mode. But for most people, this is important to start and experience the actual privacy and metadata fingerprint browsing without metadata fingerprinting, right? So this is the second phase of the home button when we expose the mode toggle. And then, of course, same thing happens here, you're going to connect it, but only in the third state, and this is when the thumb most rolled up, or this is when the arrow clicked 3 times, or this is when this is actually the current actual home screen features in the same sort of nice packaging as advanced users are used to. So in this screen,
Yeah.
you can also still choose entry, exit, mode, and connect. Yes?
So another way of putting this, simpler way of putting this, is that
Yes.
can you bring it back to the simpler view?
Yeah.
So this view for someone who maybe has seen a VPN but doesn't really know much about NymVPN's features and how it works, this makes the experience very similar to a regular VPN, right? You tap to connect and that's it, but easily accessible to the advanced user who wants to select that entry and that exit separately, and wants to configure the mode, and also a whole bunch of other things down a few layers. That person is able to do that. So this is huge. I'm actually really happy to see this.
Exactly, and so even if you think about it, like how I use my NymVPN on the phone, right? So when I travel, like I have I'm from home or my home country or city, regular place I am, is I use it on a preset setting. I have both nodes selected, to the operators I like maybe, or kind of the closest node, that's the nicest operator for me. But whenever I go on a, I don't know, short trip to somewhere, I actually don't really want to go that trouble just to connect to an airport Wi-Fi, right? Like I actually gonna welcome the one quick connect because I'm in a random airport or whatever. Just wanna connect to be secure. I don't really want to go through all the trouble of thinking about, digesting, putting my settings. So yes, that's the idea here. Hopefully even good for us or me as a feature. Yeah.
Awesome. Look, actually, I'm gonna bring. Or do you still have some stuff to go through?
No, this was a short demo, and then we have the Figma if we want
Okay.
to go there. Depends on the audience, but it's really it's up to us or up to the questions. I stop sharing. Okay, come back to the here. Hello. Sorry.
Hey. Okay, because before we do that, let me bring on a question from Beyond, which I think is a really good one. So here it is. You spent you spent so long moving away from the dark web's visual style, and spent a lot of money doing so, and now it seems you've decided to go back to the 2022 design. Why? Is this an accurate description? And
No,
if it
I
is,
mean,
then why do we decide?
so we're not going back to the dark. We're gonna have an equally beautiful light mode. I can also share my screen again and show the light mode's gonna be very because so what we think like actual scientific answer to you beyond and great question by the way is that half of the people prefer light mode and half of the people prefer dark mode, not connected to our VPN niche, but connected to general website usage. So that's statistically we have to do both. And I also think that we deserve a light mode because privacy is for everyone truly. It's not just for those who prefer the dark mode. It's also for who prefer light mode. So we're gonna have a light mode too. It's not in the demo, not wired up, but it's gonna be looking very. Can I just show a screen maybe or to tease?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
Beyond.
sure.
Yeah,
Share your screen.
nice one. Since it's a open cooking session, yeah, we can just do this. We can just. I can just go to the actual. So
Bring your
here,
screen on.
yeah, I'm gonna
There you
remove
go.
some clutter. Sorry. Yeah, so not sure if you see this Beyond or guys. It's gonna be literally the same elegant bento working style, but with a light color palette. And we're gonna be even keep using the same mint color except for the connection markers because we're gonna have like a different more we're gonna have another green used in these designs which is more in line with the big contrast white, right? I can show some light mode No details, support and feedback, right? This is and then a bunch of other stuff here. But basically the answer is we're gonna have light mode. It's gonna look amazing, I think. It's gonna be equally elegant, I think. I'm even tempted to think I'm gonna be using the light mode sometimes. I'm a huge dark mode fan, by the way, but I do think that this light mode actually looks nice, and I hope
Okay.
that
Okay, look, my take, all right? I think Beyond is right. We did revert a bit back towards the more like cypherpunky, sort of darker visuals for our dark mode. I'm personally here for it all the way. Our website will continue to have the same design language, all of that good stuff. I love the like darker colors, and also I'm of the opinion, somewhat extreme, but I'm of the opinion that like bright mode should be banned. Serious punishments should be there's this 50-50 split that you mentioned.
yeah,
I am
you're at the
definitely on
end.
one side of that
Yeah.
50. I'm at the very very far end of that 50-50 split. So yeah.
Yeah,
uh
I understand. I was there too until I saw these screens in light mode, and then it kind of started to change my mind, because maybe there's a sense in light mode if it's done nicely. I think the whole so
your
I,
your light mode propaganda is not going to work on me, Hux. You can't.
yeah. And so just to chat a bit more about the aesthetics. So my big understanding was, and we didn't really revert. I think in terms of shapes and forms, we went forward. We went to a more lean aesthetics, which is more. I really believe that an actual app that you use, like good design is invisible, right? That's my core belief. It's like if something is designed well, you don't notice like how it is designed. You just you press the buttons, you select the thing, you sit in the chair, it's comfortable. You don't, I mean, unless it's like super nice. Wow, this is like a really nice chair. So the whole idea is this with the UIs in this round is to have them as close to natural, like not generic, but as close to something that is like a system app, maybe, or Google Maps. Like Google Maps is a great app because it's just a map, right? Like it's a map and like the right buttons, the right places. So as Google Maps is a great Maps app, Nym should be the great VPN app where not much, you don't really care if it's a VPN, right? It's a privacy companion app where you want to get private, connected, one button, separate buttons. If you're an advanced user, you can fine tune the mixnet settings, so there's so many things in store for you in a digestible information architecture. So we don't want to overwhelm users because advanced privacy and advanced tech stuff is usually overwhelming cognitively from one angle or the other. Like not sure how many, we most of us have crypto wallets, but if we start talking about zero knowledge primitives, we fell short very quickly, right? Like if we have a zero knowledge expert on the call, that's like, I mean, you understand more or less, but there's a level which is just, way over the head. And this is what's happening
A
here.
very
Yeah.
what I like to say is that a very quick way, sure and quick way to feel dumb is to speak to someone who is actually an expert at zero knowledge tech. And I would expand that now that I spoke. I had two community calls, the previous ones, about post quantum cryptography with post quantum cryptographers. That is also added to that list. If you want to feel dumb, ladies and gentlemen, just speak to
Yeah.
someone like that, and
Crypto,
ask
yeah.
them about their profession and what they do, and you're gonna have a very very quick shortcut to feeling dumb. All right, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No, yeah, but at the heart of it, the reason why many of us in this community still here because this is real, this is actual privacy. Intellectually, this is like endless because even if you understand how the VPN app works, then there's the blockchain part, the node runner part, the zero knowledge part, right? The eCache scheme, the post-quantum cryptography on nodes. So there's so many corners where you can learn about how the internet actually works and how digital data packets travel around, not the cloud, but underwater mostly, right? Or Starlink if you're using that. But it's insane, and I think that our job is here with the VPN app, and this is what I want to ask, our community beyond Lamb, and you've been doing this already, so I'm not asking something you're not doing, but just empowering you more is to give your early feedback. We try to get out tester versions to you. We have a tester group too, right? So we have these tester groups too now where you can test flight app testing on iOS. I think we're doing our very best to share this session is the very idea of this session is to share as much as early as we can and confident about, in a way that you can give your feedback and point out that we do need a light mode maybe, or we don't, so we can have these debates. And yeah.
Don't say that. Don't. Anything else is welcome feedback. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Okay, so for the record, no hard feelings on all the light mode users. Fortunately, I'm not in any political position to jail all of you. I'm just kidding. Literally, no hard feelings. Light mode is also fine. Sudo prefers dark mode. That's way more diplomatic. Look, man, we still have about 10 minutes, a bit less, before we jump into the community questions. Maybe let's show the Figma board to our beloved community and invite them to participate. You're on mute.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen again, and I'm gonna drop a link. Now, this link is actually really good, because I just exported a bunch of screens to a Figma, which I'm gonna share now for yeah, there's a 24-hour open session going on in this link, which means that even if you're on a mobile now, right? Where do I give this link to Sudo? I give this in here.
Drop it here and
Yeah.
we can share it in the
So
chat.
can you post it in the chat now? And
Yes.
and basically the only to ask, like, guys, like, don't delete stuff, because you can also delete stuff here and then other people won't have fun. But the idea here is that this is basically like, it is very up to date and almost pixel perfect. This is our actual, dark skin flow, some widescreen pictures for illustration. So you remember there's a widescreen too. And then this is sort of onboarding sequence, a basic connection sequence in the most user-assisted way, some node lists, a model here too. So is it like a taste? Again, as promised, an open design kitchen session. So here's a bunch of real stuff that you can leave comments, and then there's either the comment bubble you can use, or you can use the post-its here, and you can also use the pen. But the pen is like really hardcore. So if you use the pen, like, you can use I like it. It's really hard to use the pen. So maybe use a post-it, type stuff on the post-it, I promise there's no bad feedback. Use these controls here. There's even like this little stamp that you can do, like thumbs up. And if I mean, 2 people already joined, that's great. So we can do it together. But what's the task here if you join this board is just to start looking at these screens and ask your questions, or tell your feedback. Okay, this is, maybe this wording is bad. What is this doing? Or should this be? And then of course it's missing the animation marker, it's missing the map, but it's, again, first and foremost, a first taste of a functional update in how the connection button works and the quick connect algorithm works and how that serves users. Yeah. So if you can just look at these, you can even come back and leave a post-it note, but then we can give some post-it notes till then, Sudo. Do you wanna be my reviewer? So no.
Let me make this a bit bigger here. Okay. So first of all, to the light mode slides, I want a big red cross. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Okay. No.
I'm gonna give like a thumbs down.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. No.
Okay.
All modes, whether dark or bright, are welcome here.
Okay.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're
Great,
doing
noted.
there.
Yeah.
So that's comment number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in all seriousness,
Yeah. So what I also did, hey, Rehona, I also left here the map stuff. So if you wanna leave comments, on the map, or this is for us to decorate or sort of roam through. We can also share this. Maybe we can share the link, Sudo, in the chat, or hello, in the Discord and the
yeah,
Telegram
definitely.
channel.
We definitely will. And also I will link to this part of the call so that people can check, what this is about. Your feedback would be highly valuable, guys, and we would highly appreciate it. This is an open kitchen after all. And at this stage, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hawks, obviously I'm not responsible for these designs, but at this
Yeah.
stage, really everything is in flux. It's the Hawks flux, so we could still change anything. So your feedback actually could result in real changes. Now, for me personally, I will mention something that I sort of disagree with or question in this new design is the IP address.
Mm-hmm.
Using the IP address as the main
Mm-hmm.
ID of nodes.
Mm-hmm.
I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, IP is like the universal, like actual address
Mm-hmm.
of that internet infrastructure. But still, you know, um, we have a beautiful community, obviously, who is running this infrastructure. And they configure this name
Yeah.
for their nodes, which is like such a great opportunity to sort of forefront and highlight them
Yeah.
in the interface of NymVPN. So that's one thing
Yeah.
I sort of disagree with. Otherwise, I really like the design. Um,
Look, it's a great question. I have an answer for that, and I just also want to talk to what you said about like where we are with the development on this, and what can people expect when they leave comments here. Yeah. So I think that all of your feedback is very welcome, and you know, I mean, most of this stuff is already being built, but that doesn't mean that your comment's not gonna make it to the pipeline. So we either quick iterate something. This is really, as you said, it's not in flux, but it's quite all of the engineers and the wonderful developers who work on this together with me. We really want to make the best experience for you. So we had today 3 calls where we just decided, you know, miniature details, but I think those details matter, right? And this is why we also ask the community now to help us fine tune the details. And that's why, so if we either going to put it into the pipeline, we're going to consider it, or if it's something so little or makes so much sense, you know, we might as well just, you know, have it in the first version if it's something like, oh, wow, this absolutely makes sense. So we're super open and we're reasonable. And I wanted to say that with the IP, and you're completely right, and I like the names too. And I think it's great, you know, to have, opa, that was weird. So what's going to happen is that although we're going to keep the IP in this state, actually already here, and this is not updated enough. So already here, we have the node names when the toggle appears. And in the actual most unfolded, like you see here my screen, like Bober polished node and Who Freedom Fight node. So we do have the names in the most unfolded, most advanced version. First and foremost, because we don't want to jeopardize, you know, the existing user experience of people who's been using the VPN, right? We have multiple thousands of people using this app every day. So this is basically going to stay the same as this currently. We're basically adding more assisted layers under the current home screen, if that makes sense, right? So I hope that helps, and I hope that
Look,
yeah.
this feedback session is not about me. I could you know, I
Yeah.
can give you feedback anytime. I can just bombard you with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
one
yeah,
quick thing about
yeah,
changing from the IP to the node name,
yeah.
for me as a as a sort of average but a bit more informed user, that could, you know, sort of show that the nodes all of a sudden change themselves. Like, you know, it's not a consistent item um on the on the interface. It just changes to something else when it's more, I don't know, it just feels a bit weird to me, but we can discuss that amongst each other. I want to check if any community member left something for us to check.
We have Zeus on Zeus. Hello, Zeus.
Hey,
Yeah,
Zeus.
you can just get a copy of this if you want. Control C it, post it if you want to leave a comment somewhere. But I think that we can just also leave this open for 24 hours, you know. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
what you're saying,
definitely.
yeah. So what you're saying makes sense for me, and this is exactly the conversation that we are having and been having and should be having right now too. So to what extent it makes sense to have dynamic interface? We for sure don't want to confuse anyone. We want to make everything super clear that, you know, the IP is equaling the node name, right? For that matter, this is also the reason if you look at here, right, like in the node list, we're gonna have the node name still. So IP only gonna appear when you go into the actual node, right, as is today. And so that's also a similar point. But then again, the whole reason to bring up the IP was that, again, like advanced current users should treat these new assistance features in a way, or quick connect algorithm and reduced home screen clutter in a way that's really serving your friends, your friends to like the app, right? Because the app is great, it's doing its job, it's already making us super private compared to anything else out there, even if it's you know a good VPN product. There's nothing like this out there, so it should feel like there's nothing. I do really want to feel the app, make the app feel like this is next level privacy. And I think entry level stuff is IP, is not, no, like, I've heard IP before, even if I'm not super familiar with decentralized infra or crypto, or even like new sort of Web3 communities. I think IP address is something that's gonna assure me that I'm actually protected. If I'm connected to
All right, man.
Bobber node, I don't know.
We'll continue that debate
Yeah. Between us.
privately. Okay. I have two more quick fire questions for you before we
Yes.
jump into the community questions. First of all, when can we see this, like, some form of this coming to a NymVPN release near us?
Mm-hmm. So we're just changing release cycles. So I'm pretty hopeful. If I'm not mistaken, I'm really bad with days though. It's a personal thing. It's nothing to do with anything else. I think in 4 weeks time, or
All right, excellent.
4 to 6. I don't really want to overpromise too. So, but this is what everybody is working on super hard right now. We're gonna start testing of this very soon. We do expect to find bugs and to uncover edge cases, and that's why we asked the community here to help us, if anything,
Yep.
to comment now, because now we still can adjust corners and edges and think about edge cases and sort of put your comments into the pipeline. This is really, really important, and any feedback is gold. If you
Excellent.
don't,
And I forgot about my other question. So the last thing I will mention is that, ladies and gentlemen, this will be open for another 24 hours, maybe even more. Are we
yeah,
limited to 24 hours, or can we leave it
I
open
can,
for
I
more?
can, I can leave it open for more. Yeah. We can ping it to the
Awesome.
session again. You can, just share it.
Okay, cool. So any feedback is very welcome. We're gonna share this on Telegram and Discord and also on all our other socials. Whatever it may be, how it feels, what it looks like, what you don't like,
What's
whatever it is,
missing?
just grab us. What's missing, especially, yes, maybe some issues that we didn't notice. Leave all of that stuff, please. If you have any feedback, please leave all of that in like stickers or these sticky notes or whatever it may be. That would be very, very helpful, and we're looking forward to receiving your feedback. But now it's time to jump into the community questions. So we have a bunch from Rocio. If you have any questions, you can still leave them in the chat, where we're going to pick them up. For now, we mostly have questions for Rocio. So Rocio, get ready to hear some answers. All right, first one. How does the design communicate privacy guarantees without overwhelming users with technical jargon? That's a good question.
So the first answer is actually the IP discussion we just had. So the first thing is basically, guaranteeing that when you see the app is connected to something, there's a set of data IP address that you can verify. If you go to what'smyipaddress.org or whatever checker, then you can see, oh, it checks out, so it means that the app is not lying. There's actually VPNs out there. Fun fact on this note, that there's VPNs out there. I'm not gonna name names, but I used this and I couldn't believe. There's lots of nodes and everything is insanely fast and everything is always, very stable connection, right? Like you just click, and it's not the biggest names that you know, because this is like a scam, but some VPNs make it look like they're connecting to a node, make it look like spoofing the whole UI basically. And then underneath you expose your IP, and then whatever they do, with your traffic maybe. So but there's no other IP provided. The other thing that we're building towards, or to answer your question fully, Rocio, is that basically we want to introduce a bunch of self checker functions at one point to the app. Like, for example, if the ad blocker working for, what happens with switch on the ad blocker, for example. How many ads did you block compared to it being not switched on? Maybe an internal IP checker, or maybe just a link to a checker where you can check this. But more than this, I think the vision and where we're going is that maybe not so far from now, we can have, don't even imagine an AI, but like a very dumb multiple answer onboarding questionnaire in a nice, like a onboarding tutorial question, like 3 questions. Are you traveling? Are you at home? Do you want to stream, or do you want to, do very private stuff? And then, third, fourth question, and basically set these connection templates for you, what you can save also. So there's a setting, if you have a setting for gaming, if you have a setting for streaming Netflix, right? Like these templates should be very easy to set up and should serve you. And there should be a way to favorite nodes, to favorite templates, and to sort of save these settings. And basically, with the current design, we have prepared everything because there's 2 layers here. We have an interactive button layer, which can fold and unfold maybe even more. And we're going to have an interactive map layer or background layer, which currently is the connection marker. But basically, with these 2 layers, we can just give a lot more features seamlessly to the users. But imagine, for example, search all nodes search bar in the home screen on top, right? Or what we want to introduce also sometimes in the upcoming releases is nerd mode. With the click of a button, you invoke like a more verbose log on your home screen. Maybe the map disappears, maybe the connection marker disappears, but you do have like a sysdialog box kind of connection marker for most advanced users, because some of the people, like me also personally, want to know actually what's happening on the daemon side, like with what's happening, who am I connecting, what am I exposing, what's really going on. So we're putting together like a more curated log viewer, which gonna basically be like a nerd viewer on the connection. So don't need to go to the logs to check this, but you can just see it on the home screen. This is also
That's awesome.
a design choice that's gonna help people understand what's happening more, right? Hopefully we can introduce these small helper toggles too in this, when you hover, click, like to explain features better. And then I still have to figure out, like, Rocio, if you have ideas how to, one thing which I still haven't settled yet, or still have no perfect idea, is how to handle the advanced features education, right? Because we have IPv6, we have, like wallet proxy, we have so we have so many, like split tunneling, there's so many complicated features, airporting, that explaining those to users in a nice way in the app, I think that's something that we really need to figure out better. And if you have ideas, leave it on the Figma, or ping it to me or to Sudo, or more than welcome for those. Yeah, next question maybe, because too many words for this, no? Yeah.
Yeah, very quick note of those features that you listed. The log view for advanced users is my personal favorite, and the other is like savable configurations. Like combinations of configuration. That's I think a very well requested feature by the community as well. Like we see this coming back from time to
Yeah.
time, and it would also make me very happy. So if you want to make
Me
Sudo
too.
happy, then I'll be very happy to see those. All right, thanks for the question, Rocio. Next one is also for Rocio. Were there specific privacy-focused apps that inspired the new visual direction?
Honestly, the current, like how we ended up here is that we did have a rebrand happen. If you like the last time when the whole website was rebranded and the new Nym logo got born, we did have wonderful sort of other design ideas on how to upgrade the app. But since we were so busy with the feature development, there was not much time. There was no bandwidth simply to work with the app UI. So part of this has been prepared by a very famous designer and design agency like a year and a half ago. Part of this I didn't really notice, but when I notice it, I cannot unnotice it. So I have to be honest with you guys. I think it really, I really want to sort of have a similar experience than the graphene settings or operating system experience on Android, for example, or so like something very natural and platform native is, I think, a very good experience. So it's I'm not saying we want to copy this or that app. All I want to say is that the interaction should feel as intuitive and as natural as if you're using your system settings or your Google Maps is a good example. We're not going to be a map application. You cannot plan routes between nodes, or like there's not going to be crazy GPS features, but we do want to feel as intuitive as a map application with a connect button on it, basically.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thanks for the question, Rocio, and thanks for the answer, Hux. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm removing the questions faster is because I now have portrait mode in front of me. So this stream is happening in 2 modes, and in portrait mode, the question is like exactly on top of Hux's face. Yeah, that's a bit of a weird design. So that's why I'm not keeping your questions all the way till the end. All right. Lastly, I'm sorry, but this is probably the last one that we'll have time for, and I have to bring this on screen. So from Ray Hona 708, lol, yeah. Where was the light mode epilepsy warning? Say no to light mode. I can get behind that message. Okay, maybe I'll do a tattoo or maybe a GoFundMe or something with that message. Definitely agree with you, Ray. Light mode should be banned. It's hurting a lot of people. And I'm still joking, ladies and gentlemen. But with all of that said, since we do have to leave on the dot, I'm going to have to wrap up here. Hux, any closing remarks? For the unmute button, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw it from your face.
Thanks, Sudo, for having me. Thanks for the great questions. Thank you guys for coming and listening. And even bigger thanks for your continued support and for the feedback and feature requests and comments so far. I mean, without those, we wouldn't be here today, So again, we're doing personally our very best to create an app that is not just actual privacy, but the most usable tool for also power users or old users and new users at the same time. So we can really, everyone can have actual privacy around the globe. So thank you.
Exactly. Big thanks for coming on, Hux. I hope to have you back maybe when most of these things are coming out. Then you can come back, or maybe actually to evaluate if we get a bunch of or enough feedback from the community on the Figma board. Then we can also maybe come back and evaluate that. On that note, the Figma board is open, so you can find the link here. Just what was just shared in chat, and we also shared it in our Matrix and Discord and Telegram. So just do check it out there. Any feedback would be highly appreciated. The board will remain open, and we'll keep an eye there. Also, I will mention that I see a whole bunch of new people popping up here. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe we're being discovered through the almighty algorithms, or just new NIM community members are popping up. But welcome to all of you. So welcome to Rocio, welcome to Uncle Lem, of course, the OGs, but also welcome to the newer people like Seville and Ray with an excellent comment. You're like deep in my heart now, forever. And everyone else I did not list. So hope to see you back for one of these calls as soon as possible. The next community call is going to be next Thursday, always same time, always same channel. But tomorrow there's going to be another live stream, which will be an episode of the Noise Signal Radio. We're going to have someone on from a project which you already know if you saw my episode with Elisa, who's the post-quantum cryptographer responsible for the post-quantum transition of Taylor. A very promising open source, privacy focused payment solution that is based in Europe. And we're going to have the founder of this project, Christian Grothoff. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Tomorrow on with our COO, Alexis Rossol. On a Noise Signal Radio episode, we're going to talk about Teller. We're going to talk about why it's important as one of the homegrown open source payment solutions, basically competing with CBDCs and all the other dystopian payment tech that is out there being pushed these days. So make sure to check back for that. And the last thing we'll have to do is, of course, give you your POA password. We have a little tradition. If you're new here, we have a little tradition here in the NIM community. Those who hang out with us on these community calls get a little NFT to commemorate them hanging out with us. And the secret phrase for today is humans of NIM. So you have to do the same thing as usual. You need to go to nym.com/go/poap. The link will also be shared in the chat, and you have to answer or fill out this password in the exact same spelling. So capital H, capital N, humans of Nym. We are all humans of Nym, yourselves and myself and Hux included. So big thanks for you humans of Nym hanging out with us virtually here with these humans of Nym. You can also see the POAP design for this one. This is of course the globe from the upcoming NymVPN redesign. So hopefully that's a cool little POAP for you. Much love, everyone. See you all tomorrow. And if you can't join us for the No Signal Radio tomorrow, then see you next week. Bye, everyone.